In a little white house lived a little white dog named Maddie. Maddie was your average loving pooch. She loved to go for walks and car rides. She loved the endless pets and cuddles from her family. But most of all, Maddie loved biscuit-stuffed Kongs. On rare occasions like Christmas and her birthday, Maddie would get non-stop Kongs. But on the average day, she only got 3 Kongs. 1 in the morning, 1 at 4 p.m., and 1 after dinner. Maddie was dissatisfied, however, even with 3 Kongs a day. She needed more Kongs. Kongs were her obsession. Some days Maddie would eat her 4 o'clock Kong and immediately bark and bark and bark for more. More Kongs, Maddie howled. Kongs, Kongs, Kongs. She would even keep up the barking into the evening, refusing to touch her dinner. Not dog food, no. Kongs, more Kongs. Those nights, Maddie went to bed hungry and Kongless. One day, her family had had enough of the barking about Kongs. You just had your 4 o'clock Kong. You don't get another until after you eat dinner. I'm putting you outside until you become quiet, her mother scolded. In the backyard, all alone, Maddie cried and cried for Kongs, but there was no one to listen and no one came to let her in, no matter how loud and desperate she howled. Maddie was about to give up and sit quietly at the door like a good dog. She knew that was the ticket to come back in, when she saw someone had forgotten to latch the back gate. I will go and find the land of infinite Kongs myself, Maddie decided. She nudged the gate with her wet nose and it swung open. She hesitated a moment before leaving the yard. She thought of the pets and cuddles and long walks with her family, but then she remembered Kongs. Maddie needed Kongs. She trotted through the open gate into the big world. Maddie wasn't exactly sure where she was going. Suddenly, as if placed by fate, a dog called to her from beyond a fence. "Where are you headed all alone, young lass?" a frail bark strained. "To the land of infinite Kongs," Maddie answered excitedly, "but I'm not sure which way to go." "Oh, the land of infinite Kongs," the old dog groaned. "Many dogs before you. I, myself, searched for the mystical land of infinite Kongs. Legend has it, north toward Purina lies the land of Kong." "Then I shall head north," Maddie cried excitedly. "Thank you so much, kind old soul." The dog beyond the fence had already fallen silent and said no more, so Maddie turned north and continued onward alone. As she padded along, Maddie hit some distractions. She would see a red shape hovering in the distance. "Kong!" she would cry, racing toward it. As she got closer, she would realize it was only a stop sign, and whimper in disappointment. Maddie continued north as the sun began to slip lower and lower in the sky. A chill swept across the autumn air. For a second, Maddie forgot about Kongs. She thought of her family. They would be preparing dinner now. I bet I would have gotten scraps. I thought I smelled steak tonight on the counter, and then they're going to get in their warm beds. They would invite me to sleep with them if I was there. Have they even noticed I'm gone? Maddie's family had noticed she was gone. They had not thought about dinner or bed. Her parents had gotten into the truck and slowly spiraled outward from the house. Her brother and sister searched on foot. They called, "Maddie, Maddie," scanning the streets and yards, but she was too far gone to hear them. The world suddenly seemed bigger and colder and much, much scarier as the sun set. There were no longer children on the streets that might offer a comforting pet or try to help her find home. Home. Maddie realized all she really wanted was home, but now she wasn't sure which direction was home. She was desperately lost all over a Kong. 3 Kongs a day suddenly seemed like more than enough to Maddie. She would give up Kongs for a whole week to find her way home to her family. She howled into the sky, where a half-Kong moon had begun to appear mocking her. Maddie found a little park tucked in between rows of houses and decided she had to give up for the night. She was very frightened and missed her family very much. She felt terrible for being a bad dog. At this point, she would even give up Kongs for 2 weeks so long as she had found her family. She laid down with a heavy sigh and let her eyelids droop closed. Maddie began dreaming. Maddie was swathed in light as she reached the land of infinite Kongs. There before her doggish eyes lay the infinite Kong itself, radiating a holy glow. She had found the desire of dogs across the land. She gently took the infinite Kong in her mouth, and it tasted of sweet ambrosia. Her mouth watered, but she dare not sample her treat yet. She would return to the land of neighborhoods and share her discovery with all the dogs, for she was kind-hearted. In the land of neighborhoods, the old grizzled dog who had shown her the way appeared. "So you have found it," she growled. Yes, and I have brought it back for all to admire. Give it to me. It's mine. The dog snarled, ugly. But we can share, Maddie cried, backing away. Never! Maddie began to see the ugliness in the dog's obsession, the ugliness in her own obsession that tore her family apart. Attack! The old dog howled. Dogs appeared from every direction, mouths watering in greed and ugly obsession. They converged on Maddie, teeth bared. In those last moments, Maddie was certain this was the end. She wasn't thinking of Kongs or even the infinite Kong. She was thinking of her family. She missed them so much. If only her last moments could be with them in their cuddles. Teeth flashed. Maddie was jolted awake with her ears perked to a familiar sound. The sound of a Ford pickup door closing. Maddie! Echoed through the park. Home. Family, Maddie thought. She raced toward the sound with her tail wagging so hard she could barely walk straight. Sure enough, there were her parents with their familiar smells. She pressed into their arms, wagging happily, and she happily leaped into the back of the truck. At home, her brother and sister were waiting worried. They had to give up the search on foot as night approached and wait at home in case Maddie returned. As soon as Maddie walked through the door, she charged into their arms and flopped onto the floor for belly scratches and pets. Her siblings happily obliged. Home, family, love, Maddie thought. She had completely put Kongs out of her mind until her father appeared holding the biscuit stuffed delight in his hand. She was a bad dog, but they would still give her a Kong anyway and forgive her because they loved her. And Maddie loved them more than she could ever love a Kong.